ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of the Burglar Report, your number one choice for news and politics and who knows what. Unmasked truth. How about that one? So, as you can see, not wearing a mask. Probably should have shaved a little better. Been away for a while. If you've been following my channel, you know when I'm away, it's because I'm making moves. And there's a new background. We're blessed to get into a new house and, just been very busy. A lot going on. Anyways. Reason for me being unmasked is I want to switch gears a little bit on my channel. The news is always going to be there. I just haven't quite felt... Hold on, let me position myself. I'm still working on lighting. It's a new area. What are you going to do? The connection, the same connection I've been having. And for very good reason, just wasn't connecting with, I don't know. Maybe not a good reason. Maybe I'm going numb to all of it, which is terrible. And it wasn't from lack of news. You know, my weekly news show, more or less. Whatever. I want to go hardcore. Okay, that's what I'm doing here. And I also want to get into the Word, the Scriptures, the Gospel, the eternal Gospel. And that's, this is the whole get up here. The thing about being masked is a little satanic. That's kind of my alter ego, if you will, Dave Steppenwolf. I'm giving into my animalistic dark side. Yet here we have just regular old Bible Dave. Gonna get into the Word. And I'm still gonna get into the news on the weekends, if anyone's interested. I still want to, because recent tragedies, pretty crazy. The school shooting, obviously. I don't know. Okay, I don't know how to feel about that. Everybody wants to ban guns. Never gonna work. Best case scenario, everyone banning guns. We turn into Mexico, and you have cartels running cities and towns and having shootout with cops. Worst case scenario, the whole total pardon me, authoritarian aspect of it, large crackdowns, Stalin Russia, Mao China type of thing. Yeah. And there's, as far as conspiracies and that thing, I've come across some TikToks where that whole thing was fake. That's a hard pill to swallow. But I'd much rather believe that event was fake than 19 cops stood around and did nothing. That's harder to believe. While kids were getting murdered, cops just stood around. But, times are crazy. We are in the quickening age of information and unveiling, if you will. And of course, a lot of this speaks to the end times and revelations, and which is why this is what I kind of want to do. Want to explore my point of view, maybe a verse by verse reading, Bible study. Wouldn't quite say ministry or preaching, but I have a unique perspective on things that I'd like to share, and that's about it. In any case, I have my trusty New Living Translation. This baby's got some miles on it. I've done some reading. Got this. This is actually my wife's, hence the pinkness. But it's good stuff. Also, I'd like to get into... I've recently come to understand that some of the scriptures are mistranslated, which I've already kind of knew. But there's a George Lamb's Bible, which is hard to find. And this has the New Testament of George Lamb. This actually has 3 translations. But the George Lamb's was directly from Aramaic into English. There's some completely different passages in the scriptures. Very interesting. So, But the book I'm starting in today is not part of the New Testament. It is Old. Is it Old Testament? I didn't even look up the page. One second. Oh, is this embarrassing? Here in my Burglar Report channel, we are unscripted, off the cuff, raw, and that's how it's always been, for better or for worse. So here we go. Oh, wait, hold on. Is there a glossary? Is there a table of contents in this? Oh no, it should be after Proverbs. There we go. Ecclesiastes, my favorite book in the Bible. This is where we're starting. The author of Ecclesiastes, let's just jump right into this. It's King Solomon, apparently, according to Jewish tradition. Now, I'll probably get into this more as we get into the New Testament because, as I said, I have a different perspective. I'm an open-minded person, very much a skeptic. I've always been hardline science, but I've also believed that science and God are one and the same. The fact that it has been divided in mainstream society is just beyond me as to why. You know, it's almost as science as this new religion that the end times speak of. And it's my personal philosophy on all of that being the same is Romeo and Juliet, Shakespearean quote. When he's going up, he's looking at Juliet. He's like sneaking up outside her house, and she's up in the window. Kind of creepy, but you know, teenagers in love. What are you gonna do? And he says, a rose by any other name is still a rose. So I have, in my own mind, you have science, magic, aspects of religion, all the same description, or I'm sorry, different descriptions for the same phenomena. And I don't mean to block in my microphone. I don't know. Let's just go with that. Okay. This is going to be interesting. Follow me for more advice. Holy shit. Crap. So yeah, I was trying to keep this family friendly. Usually I got some adult beverages. Not today. Just coffee and or water. Alright. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 1. These are the words of the teacher, King David's son, who ruled Jerusalem. This is my favorite part. Get into Ecclesiastes. Everything is meaningless. Everything is meaningless, says the teacher. Completely meaningless. What do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth never changes. The sun rises, the sun sets, then hurries around to rise again. The wind blows south and then turns north. Around and around it goes, blowing in circles. Rivers run into the sea, but the sea is never full. Then the water returns again to the rivers and flows out again to the sea. Everything is wearisome, beyond description. No matter how much we see, we are never satisfied. No matter how much we hear, we are not content. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Sometimes people say, here's something new, but actually it is old. Nothing's ever truly new. We don't remember what happened in the past, and in future generations, no one will remember what we are doing now. It's very cut to the chase, very abrupt, or I don't know. Let's continue. The teacher speaks about the futility of wisdom. I, the teacher, was the king of Israel. This is King Solomon, who was apparently had all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the concubines, anything that could have ever been done. King Solomon did it. So here he is speaking about this from his own perspective. You'll see where it leads. It's a very short book. We'll cover a few chapters today. Okay, continuing. Verse 12. I, the teacher, was the king of Israel, and I lived in Jerusalem. I devoted myself to search for understanding and to explore by wisdom everything being done under heaven. I soon discovered that God has dealt a tragic existence to the human race. I observed everything going on under the sun, and really, it is all meaningless, like chasing the wind. What is wrong cannot be made right. What is missing cannot be recovered. I said to myself, look, I am wiser than any of the kings who ruled Jerusalem before me. I have greater wisdom and knowledge than any of them. So I set out to learn everything from wisdom to madness and folly. But I learned firsthand that pursuing all of this life is like chasing the wind. The greater my wisdom, the greater my grief. To increase knowledge only increases sorrow. Which is true. They say ignorance is bliss. The increase of knowledge is the increase of sorrow. The more you know, it's like in your personal sense, the more you know about your body, the more you want to protect it, the more you know about just basic biological functions. Once you start having kids, the more you know about dangers out there, the crazier your mind gets, more frantic, especially nowadays, with just being blasted by social media and the news and everything is just full panic mode. The more you know, more sorrow comes into your heart and in your mind, and it's really hits the point of everything is meaningless. We're but like a speck in the universe kind of thing. Everything we do for this brief blink of an eye, what does it amount to? It really points towards our purpose in life, or questions about life and its purposes. You gotta think about stuff like that. Anyways, chapter 2, the futility of pleasure. I said to myself, come on, let's try pleasure. Let's look for good things in life. But I found this too was meaningless. So I said, laughter is silly. What good does it do to seek pleasure? After much thought, I decided to cheer myself with wine. And while seeking wisdom, I clutched at foolishness. In this way, I tried to experience the only happiness most people find during their brief life in this world, which is, wine and pleasure. What do you see everywhere you look? Anytime there's depression, bars and casinos, business is booming. I also tried to find meaning by building huge homes for myself and by planting beautiful vineyards. I made gardens and parks, filling them with all kinds of fruit trees. I built reservoirs to collect the water to irrigate my many flourishing groves. I bought slaves, both men and women, and others were born into my household. I also owned large herds of flocks, more than any other king who has ever lived in Jerusalem before me. I collected great sums of silver and gold, the treasure of many kings and provinces. I hired wonderful singers, both men and women, and had many beautiful concubines. I had everything a man could desire. So I became greater than all who had lived in Jerusalem before me, and my wisdom never failed me. Anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. Must be nice. I even found great pleasure in hard work, a reward for all of my labors. Very true. Everyone wants to seek comfort. I seek difficulty and pain, discomfort, and challenges. It's a lot. Not just because it builds character, but because there's greater sense of fulfillment, even if it's meaningless in the end. You never see a U-Haul following a hearse? Can't take it with you. Still, better than just sitting around doing nothing. Although that is nice sometimes. Anyways, chapter 2, verse 14. Alright? No. 12. The wise and the foolish. So I decided to compare wisdom with foolishness and madness. For who can do this better than I, the king? I thought, wisdom is better than foolishness, just as light is better than darkness. For the wise can see where they are going, but fools walk in the dark. Yet I saw the wise and the foolish share the same fate. Both will die. So I said to myself, since I will end up the same as the fool, what's the value of all my wisdom? This is all so meaningless. For the wise and the foolish both die. The wise will not be remembered any longer than the fool. In the days to come, both will be forgotten. So I came to hate life because everything done here under the sun is so troubling. Everything is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Yeah, sounds about right. The futility of work. I came to hate all my hard work here on earth, for I must leave to others everything I have earned. That's kind of rough. But you see it through, any family feud, anytime a person dies, everybody's running up to see what they got. And it's like the old story or the fable, whatever, the chicken making the soup. they're doing all the work and everybody wants to run up in the end and get some soup. And kind of like when you die, you have no say. You know, when I pass, hopefully I have a lot to leave my kids, but you know, they kind of didn't earn it. They're just my kids that I love, and you know, that's just life. It's kind of a thing. It's best not to dwell on, I guess. What was it? It's futility of work. I came to hate all my hard work here on earth, for I must leave to others everything I have earned. And who can tell me whether my successors will be wise or foolish? Yet they will control everything I have gained by my skill and my hard work under the sun. How meaningless. So I gave up in despair, questioning the value of all my hard work in this world. Some people work wisely with knowledge and skill, and some must leave the fruit of their efforts to someone who hasn't worked for it. This too is meaningless, a great tragedy. So what do people get in their life for all their hard work and anxiety? Their days of labor are filled with pain and grief. Even at night, their minds cannot rest. It is all meaningless. Very true. I'll be working, doing some stuff. We're working on projects. We're doing something, and my mind's thinking about the next step, the next thing going on. It's all meaningless. So I decided there is nothing better than to enjoy food and drink, and to find satisfaction in work. Very true. That's something I've come to understand myself. Is not be prideful and boastful about your work, but to enjoy the fruits of your labor a little bit. You can't just be crazy working, because then, you know, you work yourself into a grave with the stress and heart attacks. That was always very much my life in a previous career. 60 to 80 hours plus there, stressing out about some BS logistics. For what? And then, you know, yeah. Enjoy your fruits, not crazily. Don't go overboard, but enjoy while you can sometimes, especially with the family. That's a big thing. You're working hard, you're losing all that family time. What's really important? What's more important? The job that you have to provide for your family, or the family providing for. Because if some illness comes along, and something serious happens to a family member, all that stuff, and the Bible says, you know, turns the ashes in your mouth. You know, you just get that dry mouth to where you can feel in your gut, you know, when you lose someone you love. Just that tremendous pain. And you question all of the times you could have called them, you could have spent with them, you could have hung out with them, or you could have just been there at their birthdays and different things. And, you know, all this meaningless work and toil, we forget, you know, what's important, what our relationships are. I mean, especially, you know, in the United States, as hard as we work, well, maybe not this past couple of years, but all the hours that people work and the things they do to progress, to all the suffering and stress they go through just to get that next level, to get all this material nonsense. This is why, one of the reasons why I like Ecclesiastes. So I decided there's nothing better than to enjoy food. Did I say that one part already? Yes, and drink, and satisfaction and hard work. When I realized that these pleasures are from the hand of God. Yes, that's right. God provides you with the ability to work hard. I mean, I'm blessed with the ability to provide for my family. You know, I want to go deeper on my thoughts on just God and, you know, different things, but we're okay. I mean, just the ability to do something, the opportunities that I seek, and the progress that I've made, all blessings, you know. I mean, also fruits of my labor. So, you know, God does help those that help themselves. And we can get into that. We can get into, and in the mainline church, I was going to a mainline church that said that that's not biblical, and you can very easily look at the parable that Jesus talks about with the master giving money to the slaves. You got the 4 slaves. All of them that actually did something with the money that he gave them, or 3 of them rather. They made interest off it. They did well, and then the one that just was given the money and then just buried it out of fear, the master took that money away and gave it to the other 3 that were working hard with the money. You were given opportunities, and if you don't make use of them, you will have less, or you will be less. But if you do help yourself, you will be given more blessings. It's just kind of a law of the universe. And not obviously in every case, because there are tragedies, there are things that happen that are out of control. Under God's control, sure, but I'd say overall, it's we have to. I mean, it's like a universal law. You reap what you sow. You know, you want to talk karma. What you put out, you're going to get back. So it's very, very important to understand. Anyways, continuing. Verse 24, chapter 2. And we're going to start this paragraph. So I decided there's nothing better than to enjoy food and drink and to find satisfaction in work. Then I realized that these pleasures are from the hand of God. For who cannot eat or enjoy anything apart from Him? God gives wisdom, knowledge, and the joy to those who please Him. But if a sinner becomes wealthy, God takes the wealth away and gives it to those who please Him. This too is meaningless, like chasing the wind. So yeah, I mean, you can still do what you can, and it can be taken away. But it doesn't mean to give up, kind of thing. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna work on my reading skills. I do say anyways a lot. Let's do one more, and then we'll stop. Chapter 3. For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born, a time... You know what? Save that for next week. Get my little bookmark here. Again, this is New Living Translation. Very simple, very straightforward to read. Very straightforward to understand. This is like 6th grade reading level. And like, as I said, Ecclesiastes is my favorite book. This is, I mean, it's like poetic. It's beautiful, beautifully written. And I, for one, I'm not a churchgoer. I think it's great for children. It's great for them to learn the necessity of having God in their lives. But my connection is very private and special with God. And I don't need church doctrines to understand the Bible. You know, Revelations warns about putting something in the Word that's not there and preaching about it. I like that. I want to give my perspective on this. But I don't understand how people will give you some Bible quotes read some passages and they're saying and then go and say there's all this extra context that you don't understand. Which to me speaks true for the Old Testament, perhaps, because that's more of a history. There's a lot of good lessons and metaphors and teachings in there. But New Testament is a lot more than it seems, but at the same time, it's very straightforward, and I don't like to add onto the word that's not there. You know, yeah, we're gonna cover all that when we get to it. I want to jump into Revelations next, just because, maybe just Gospel of Matthew. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're gonna have fun. If you stuck around and you liked what you saw, follow and like and subscribe or something. You know, I want to make this a weekly thing, maybe bi-weekly, maybe Sunday, Wednesday Bible study with the old Bible Dave. My channel doesn't get shut down because I do want to get in the hardcore conspiracies, back with Dave Steppenwolf with the mask. So look forward to that. I'll continue on. But as I said before, I have a very unique perspective, and this might not be the Bible study for you. If you need church and you need somebody to talk to you, how the church talks to you, that's absolutely fine. You know, I don't want to lead anybody astray from Christ. I believe that the scriptures are the eternal gospel. The scriptures are the truth. Church, on the other hand, you know, I got my beef. Church is fallible. Church is made of man. And if my word starts to leave questions in your mind, throw some comments on it. Maybe I can help you. But if not, then maybe this isn't the channel for you. I have more of a skeptical, scientifically minded viewpoint, and I do think something like the New Testament is also, I mean, you want to get crazy, is a greater cosmic tale beyond beyond what we can measure. Just as an anthill cannot understand our consciousnesses. I believe our little human minds cannot understand that these great celestial bodies we see in the sky are not greater beings, upon ourselves, or even higher dimensions and different things. So, we're gonna go down that route, down those rabbit holes. Just because to me all that speaks to the truth of the gospel. It doesn't take away from it. People want to divide science and religion. To me, it's one and the same. I don't understand how that's not so obvious to people. But in any case, hopefully you had fun. And hopefully this video didn't mess up, because I've had some technical difficulties. Bye.